Hello, fellow decision scientists. Today we do the fifth session on simulation. Similar to the previous main topic that we had, that was mathematical modeling, simulation needs practice to become dominant on the concept, to become handy with this technique or approach to make decisions. So today we are gonna handle another category of problems to be simulated. The first one that we simulated together was the Sanatronic case, that they wanted to open a business, and with several parameters they wanted to see if they are gonna make money in the first year or not. With the second one we tackled a queue type of problem, a line type of problem, and you noticed how much it is different, how much they were different from each other. And common sense, especially in the second one, played an important role. So when we do more examples from different categories, you would find yourself in a better position, in more control regarding simulation. So not only I recommend follow these practices that we do in our class time together well, but also when you get a chance, go and check your textbook and just pick up an example in the textbook and try to do simulation and try to run it. Okay, the problem that we are going to do together today is in the field of inventory problems. So we are going to simulate an inventory case. With mathematical modeling, we also had inventory problem, and if you remember the case regarding the carpets, that we modeled it in two different ways. Okay, now we are gonna do inventory simulation together. It is the third case that we are going to do this semester together. And okay, first let's check the problem. Consider the Butler Internet Company, which distributes a wireless router. The previous inventory problem that we did together with mathematical modeling was with carpet, and now here it is router. Each router costs Butler $75 and sells for $125, exactly the same as the previous inventory problem that we had, that over there on one side we had the production cost, if you remember, that in different season or in different quarters they were different, and also about the selling that you see here, sells for 125. Thus, Butler realizes a gross profit of $50 for each router sold. Monthly demand for the router is described by a normal probability distribution with a mean of 100 units and a standard deviation of 20 units. Of course, you have no problem in generating this type of random numbers. It is normal, and you have the mean and standard deviation. So very easily for each period you can generate the random number that is in fact the demand for that period. Butler receives monthly deliveries from its supplier and replenishes its inventory to a level of Q at the beginning of each month. So what does it mean that Butler received monthly deliveries from its supplier and replenishes its inventory to a level of Q at the beginning of each month? Okay, it means that the batches that comes to Butler Company are delivered on a monthly basis. Okay, for example, here it is January, here it is February, and here it is March. Okay, imagine at the last day before January, the inventory is 20. Okay, and as you can see here, at the beginning of each month, the inventory is replenished to a level of Q. So it would be one of the questions that we are going to answer with simulation. That what is Q? What should be Q? What is the best Q? So imagine we considered Q, just an example. We considered Q as 100. Okay, so at the beginning of each month after replenishment, the inventory level must reach the level of 100. So if the inventory level on the last day before January 1st is 20, how much we need to get from our supplier? 80. So it would be something like this. I'm gonna draw this line as the sign of 100. So imagine it is 20 and we are like this. So at the beginning of January, you need to get to 100. Imagine at the beginning of February, you reach the level of 0. So how much you need to get? 100. Imagine at the beginning of March, you reach the level of 50. So how much you need to get at the beginning of March as replenishment? 50. So let's now read this part again, and I'm sure now it makes sense. It makes more sense to you. Butler received monthly deliveries from its supplier, the way that I told you, January, February, March, and like that, and replenishes its inventory to a level of Q, that is 100, at the beginning of each month. So now we just discussed this part together. So it checks the level of inventory at the beginning of each month and replenishes it to level of 100. If it is 20, so it needs 80. If it is 0, it needs 100. If it is 50, it needs 50. Now that you know about this part, let's continue with the rest. This beginning inventory level is referred to as the replenishment level. It is talking about this 100. If monthly demand is less than the replenishment level, an inventory holding cost of $15 is charged for each unit that is not sold. So since let me tell you this, give you this explanation here. Okay. Here we have the beginning inventory. Okay, the beginning inventory that we have is 100. Okay, so here it says if monthly demand is less than the replenishment level, it means that if the monthly demand is less than 100, so there would be inventory at the end of the month, because the inventory at the beginning of the month is 100 and the demand is less than 100, so we would have inventory at the end of the month. So since we have inventory at the month, it would cause some cost on us, and it says an inventory holding cost of $15 is charged for each unit that is not sold, and it is calculated the way that I just told you. However, if monthly demand is greater than the replenishment level is 100, and just assume that the monthly demand is, for example, 120. So it is more than that 100. A stock out occurs and a shortage cost is incurred, because Butler assigned a loss of goodwill cost of $30 for each customer turned away. A shortage cost of $30 is charged for each unit of demand that cannot be satisfied. So if we specify the Q big number, there is a downside with this. What is the downside? The downside is this: most probably we are gonna have stock inventory at the end of the month, and we need to pay $15 for those things. And if we assign Q a small number, for example 50, most probably at the end of the period we are gonna have turned away customers, and it's very bad in business, because not only we are gonna lose not only we have lost the sale, but and it means lose of money, but also we send the customer indirectly to the rivals and make them stronger. So they have calculated that each customer that is turned away because we don't have stock, because we are out of stock, charge us $30 per customer. So you see, it needs to be it is some sort of a delicate decision that you need to make balance between the inventory cost and shortage cost. And since the demand is a random number, the random number, so simulation is the best approach to tackle this problem, to come up with the best level of Q. Management would like to use simulation model to determine the average monthly net profit resulting from using particular replenishment level. Management would also like information on the percentage of total demand that will be satisfied. This percentage is referred to as the service level. Okay, let's talk more about this last paragraph. It says it wants to determine the average monthly net profit resulting from using particular replenishment level. It is the same as the fact that we want to find the best Q, because we are going to calculate the average monthly net profit with different Qs, and of course we are going to choose the one that makes the average net profit maximum. But since they are business and they care about the service level, they are going to consider two things. First is the net profit, and the other things is the service level. For example, they want to see what percentage of the customer were served in their system. And you can see it here. It says management would also like information on the percentage of total demand that will be satisfied. For example, if 200 demand comes to their company, but they only satisfy 100 of that, the service level would be 50%.